Well, welcome back to Radio Entrepreneurs, the show that has had more than 1 million people connect with it, 1 million people who like entrepreneurship are entrepreneurs. And right from day one, standing beside me, first in person and now in Zoom, is the fabulous Marc Z from Marc Z Legal Staffing with his weekly updates, and is going to share again a special Marc Z moment.
Well, thank you, Jeff. It's great to be here as always.
Right. I know you always wait for my big introductions. It's the I get the Ed McMahon of the Year award.
Oh, God.
So what's the topic du jour, Marc?
Well, I thought we'd talk about diversity and inclusion, which is a thread going through companies and professional services organizations right now. A lot of companies and law firms had always, for example, said to us when we've done searches, if you have a diversity candidate, that would be great. But what's happened over the last couple of years, particularly the last year and a half, are firms, companies of all kinds, organizations of all kinds, and associations. For example, almost every major bar association. I got something yesterday from the Rhode Island Bar Association. Mass Bar Association is very big in it. Bar associations in major states across the country are all having task forces to go over diversity, inclusion, and really promote not only understanding, but the best way for inclusion and moving forward with the way these organizations are run. Two professional networking organizations I belong to have really made an effort from early on, as soon as this subject was talked about, to have diversity inclusions committees, have subcommittees, really focused on initiatives to reach out to law firms and organizations about better diversity inclusions. And then lastly, we've gotten many, many types of searches for diversity inclusion officers, coordinators, people to run departments. So this is a very big initiative that's being taken seriously in the business and legal community, and it's been a long time coming.
Well, I think it is a big topic, and it has been for a long time, at least inside my home. And I have a sister-in-law who is, I think, the director of equal opportunity in Canada, and that must have been over almost 40 years ago. So there's for a whole country that looks at that. And I think it's important for law firms who are thought leaders for the business community to do this, because I think, a trickle-down theory that if your attorney and your law firm are practicing good diversity and promoting diversity, I think it's not hard. It's a big stretch for companies to start understanding that this is something that they need to follow as well. It's not just safe business, but it's good business. Wouldn't you agree?
Correct. It's good business. It's, what's that saying? Do good, do well. And what's happening is more and more initiatives, the more and more you have people talking about different situations, what they experienced. We have, for example, 2 associations that I've been on. They always have exercises for you to do. Has this ever happened to you? Has that ever happened to you? And whether it has or it's not, it really has you thinking things that you took for granted or things that you unfortunately experienced are now coming to the top of the bubble that had been buried. And I think it's healthy to talk about, and it's always been there. It's like the invisible person. They were always there, as you just didn't notice them. It's like, remember when your wife was pregnant and you never noticed pregnant women, and all of a sudden you notice because your wife is pregnant. And it's the same thing. It's a topic that was always there, but now it's getting the attention because people are seriously focused on it. And the people that were always focused on it are now really shining because they have all this material, all these exercises, all these conversations that they can talk about, and now people will listen.
Well, I think historically people tended to be, very provincial and run in packs of similarity. and higher in packs of similarity, if we're going to sort of dumb it down. And I think the whole goal is to hire and run in packs of diversity. That when you run in a pack of diversity, it may challenge you to be better than you are, and brings talent to the table that you might not have had before. So I think it's both a leadership challenge and a management challenge. Leadership in terms of hiring and setting the tone, but I also think it's a challenge for learning how to work in that type of environment. Just hiring is not enough. You have to create a culture and an environment that knows how to utilize these people to the fullest and work together to the fullest. Because if you still are working from a preconceived notion of success, that even if you hire the right people, you're not going to use them correctly.
Right. I totally agree with you. That's got to be the right plan, and actions speak louder than words.
I think it's a great topic, Mark. I hope we can talk about it more. I know it's a special Mark Z moment. I'm glad you're promoting this within your clients and your targets. I try to talk to people about this as well. You see it a lot also in family businesses, Mark. I'll just say that in closing, that families who have the same socioeconomic background tend to see their way as the way of building a business. And they need to look outside themselves and really have a lot more diversity as well. So I think, again, law firms, public companies, they're a little bit more sensitive to this. But I think family businesses really need to embrace this as well.
Correct. I mean, you got to go with the times, and there are a lot of family businesses that are now out there with the next generation pitching business, working with bigger companies, and they're like, who's on your team that's of color? Who's on your team that's female? Who's on your team? And you have to, whether you like it or not, you've got to get with the times, and it makes sense business-wise. And it's the best thing to do.
I understand it totally. And I want to thank you. But look, if somebody else is looking to get smarter about this topic and needs your help, how would they find you, Mr. Mark?
First of all, Google Marc Z, M-A-R-C, and the letter Z, and we'll come right up. Or marczlegal.com, MARCZLEGAL.com, or 617-338-1300.
Thank you, Marc Z. And every week I wait for these moments. They're very special to me, and I hope they're very special to our listeners out there who tune in to Radio Entrepreneurs. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back with more stories.